what's up, party people? Welcome to a live edition of Honest Trailer Commentaries in studio. We're all here. We got drinks. We're having
We all have drinks.
So many drinks.
We love drinks, folks.
Alcoholic drinks.
We're talking about Dungeons & Dragons Hat, Honor Among Thieves today. Then we're going to show you some outtakes. We'll do some Q&A, so put your questions in the chat. And then we'll clue you in with next week's film. At the very end, I will refuse. I will not tip you off early. I always do. It's based on a game. It's Mario. Fuck! I just get so excited.
You got that Roman Roy thing, like, do I have to fire you? Well, now I've said it, so now I've got to. You're fired.
We also released Fast and Furious by the Numbers this morning on this very same channel. Find out exactly how many times they say family, how many man hugs, how many Coronas. There's all the stats you need to know for the back of your Fast and Furious baseball cards.
Yeah.
Check that out on this same channel. So, Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. A film that had so many strikes going against it, for me personally going in. Not a D&D guy. The trailers look terrible. I guess there's just two.
Those are really the only two you need.
I don't like D&D in there.
Yeah.
And damn it, if this movie didn't win me over almost instantly, it was really just a delight from start. Well, I don't want to say from start to finish. It's not flawless, but it was really fun, and I did not expect that. What were your expectations versus reality on this one?
Well, so with this one, it was I already, because I love D&D so much. Like when I first heard that they were doing this, I'm like, yeah, every 10 years we're gonna get one of these, and it's always gonna be terrible, and no one's gonna get it. And then when I heard that it was the game night dudes, I was like, okay, now this is looking interesting and cool. And the first trailer came out, and I was like, oh, was this a Red Wizard notice? Like, what are we doing? and then everyone, obviously I hang out with a bunch of TTRPGers and a bunch of like D&D playing crew, and everyone was coming back and being like, this is really good. And it's like, are you saying that so that everyone sees it online? And they were like, no, I'm serious, like it is really good. And I watched it and I was like, well, gosh darn it, hot diggity dog.
I was in full disbelief from the very beginning because people like Ted Lasso. Like there's the world's full of psychopaths.
Fine, Ted Lasso. I saw Guardians 3 this weekend, and that on top of this, it's like, as much as we bash on the sort of the Marvel formula and how predictable these kinds of movies are and how sort of fatigued we are on that kind of like snarky adventure heist sensibility, if you do it right, if you write it and it's funny and you really put like care and thought into the characters.
You have a white Chris front and center.
You put a white Chris in there.
Right where they belong.
No, but it's like you can still make these old formulas work, as tired as they might be, if you just do the work. If the script is funny, if the characters are charming, if you kind of figure out the world, everything clicks in this, and it's a lot of fun, even though it's the sort of thing that, I think shouldn't work or normally doesn't work.
Right. If the Marvel formula is action plus comedy plus IP, there's a lot of wiggle room within action and comedy to be good or bad. And I thought that the comedy was like way better than expected, and the action was like, okay, they're trying things. This doesn't look This doesn't play out exactly like
they
every
did
other
some
one.
really cool stuff like that. All the hand stuff.
All the hand stuff.
All the hand stuff at the end was really, really cool. And again, an unexpected way and we talk about this, the goo flinging problem, the third act goo that always shows up in a lot of these movies. And they found a way to de-goo this movie. And that way is Owlbear.
Yeah, there's thought put into like how would these different, and I mean that makes sense in a D&D world that you would put that kind of thought into like how different characters would use magic and magical items or whatever. But it does feel like the thought was put in. They took the time during developing this and thinking about it to really make it specific to the world of D&D and Forgotten Realms and that reality, instead of having it feel more like a Morbius or an Uncharted or one of these other kinds of movies that we watch where it feels a little slapdash thrown together generic.
Right, and I think that it also helps that with something like this, you can tell that these dudes actually play D&D.
Sure.
You can tell that this is something that they, this is like a love letter to a thing that they already play. And if not, then I don't know why they already made a board game movie if they don't like games. But I'm very much looking forward to Settlers of Catan.
Oh boy.
There's resources, baby!
I like that they don't put a fine point on it, but there is the sense that it does feel a bit like these are people in our world playing D&D, and we are seeing their campaign brought to life.
But they resisted the urge to pan out and show you, know, Will Ferrell at the end.
Exactly. Yes. And like, you know that there was a stage where at least they got that studio note. Like, should we pull back and see the kids playing this game? And like, they didn't do that, but there is still that sense of like a new character will show up and like tell you their backstory like a person would if they were playing D&D and had a new character. And I like that element of it.
Yeah, and being able to explain all the different classes and blah blah blah. I could really talk about like how much this movie did right for like a really long time. And like, now we have to talk about what they did wrong.
Yeah, and the characters who have like that sort of like, they sound like a dungeon master, like giving you the backstory. Like Roger Jean Page has a few speeches like that where he's giving you the sort of exposition, but in the way that a non-player character would.
Yeah, I mean, but as like a D&D non-player, I didn't find it distracting or obsequious for them to just keep dropping references. Even though, like, you know, I know what Baldur's Gate is from games. I know what Icewind Dale is. Like, I've heard these terms.
Right.
Also, these tropes have like infected every other fantasy thing throughout the world. So
it's with a light touch.
And you didn't need to know what that was.
Yeah, it was a light touch.
It's with a light touch.
Yeah,
you
don't
so
need to.
Yeah. Let's watch it on Australia for Dungeons and Dragons Hat.
Jonathan. I'm never gonna stop.
In a world of high fantasy, low comedy, and special effects wankery, a big studio adaptation of a beloved nerd franchise will turn out not awful, kind of fun. Actually funny? Okay, lock the doors. Nobody leaves this room until we figure out how this happened. Dungeons and Dragons Hat. Honor Among Thieves.
Pause. Well, let's call it for a thing that looks bad that we think has a chance of being good for the rest of, let's say, the year. Is there anything that like a red notice that's going to surprise us? Like, do you think like I'm excited for Extraction 2?
I'm kind of excited.
I don't think the first Extraction, very much just an action movie full out, not a red notice. So I am looking forward to Extraction 2, but I don't think that's surprising. Like, I think Extraction 2 is going to be cool.
I mean, Kraven the Hunter. We're thinking that could be
that still happening?
Shock the world. I think that's a real movie.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think that's not till 2024 though. Maybe is that this year?
Oh yeah. Well, that's my pick because while it sounds terrible on the surface, these are the same brain geniuses that brought us Venom 2 and Morbius. So comedy, intentional or unintentional potential is high.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
that could be.
We got a clip yesterday. It does not seem that promising, but I'm not totally giving up on it yet. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. That's my pick.
It's not going to be as good.
It's not, but I mean, nothing. What's as good as Raiders?
I
like Mangold.
Yeah.
And the clip that they released yesterday, I did not love, but like I'm not ready to count that one out entirely yet. A lot of talent associated with it. I love the character Indiana Jones, so I'm holding out hope that one surprises us.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's going to be really good, but that's one where I'm also going in with a little bit like bet hedgy.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna deep fake Harrison, the next best choice is to Weekend at Bernie's him through an action adventure. So put the fedora over his eyes and then just kind of rig him up with ropes.
Come on.
Swing him from set piece to set piece. Okay, let's keep watching.
Memory Hole Dungeons and Dragons 2000. And if you remember the cartoon, your kids are waiting for you to pick them up from school. Now, strap in for a film that takes a wild new approach. What if a Marvel movie were as charming as it thinks it is? With cool magic.
Hand stuff.
Good jokes.
Jonathan! But we approved your pardon!
And action with some thought put into it. So what if they drop a magic skybeam at the end? It's been a while since we had a good skybeam. I missed you, old friend.
So pause. We did get a skybeam in Black Adam. I think we're having a second renaissance of skybeams.
Every 10 years, the kids discover and rediscover skybeams, just like Nirvana.
In many ways, the skybeam never left. It's been serving the same great quality third acts all along.
The skybeam was inside you all along.
Yeah.
What's your favorite skybeam? Is it a sci-fi blue laser skybeam, or is it more of a magical skybeam?
I don't feel like you could. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you go.
I was gonna say the bizarre bizarre Justice League, like radioactive orange sky.
What I like, I like the Justice League one and others of its ilk that are being slowly orbited by rocks.
Yeah,
like a lot. You have like some
exactly,
a junky rough around the edges.
I feel like Man of Steel and then Justice League. Like Snyder kind of does own the Skybeam. Like he's our preeminent Skybeam.
Suicide
filmmaker.
Squad out of Skybeam.
Yeah,
Suicide Squad, and that one that was like a dirty Skybeam. Like that was a Skybeam that looked like it was made of mold.
The DCEU, home to the great Skybeam.
Do you prefer a Skybeam that's coming from a device or a portal?
Ooh.
An Einstein-Rosen bridge? That's the best Skybeam.
That is the best.
Okay, yeah, well,
that's your top Skybeam source.
We should do a Skybeam tier list video.
Can we do it by the numbers?
Yeah, rank by Skybeam.
Most powerful Skybeam.
And this is how our meetings are, y'all.
Yeah. I like that.
Gold. Okay, keep going.
To not suck, there's only one Hollywood Chris you should call. He's got the charm, the sex appeal, the magic voice.
He saved friendship with his song.
Oh, he gonna let you know he can sing.
Mixed race daughters.
He told me to trust you when you left me.
Pine's got the range, baby. Show me just one thing that Chris Pratt is better at. Except making money. Pine's Eggin will team up with...
we do have, speaking by the numbers, an episode dropping perhaps next week about Hollywood's best Chris.
Yeah.
I think we know your favorites. I think everyone here's favorite is either Evans or Pine, right?
I mean, everyone's favorite around the globe should be Evans or Pine, right?
Yeah, that's really the competition.
Yeah, are there a lot of Hemsworth Pratt people out there?
Well, if you want to throw your predictions down for the categories are going to be like best Chris in a fight, best Chris romantically, and then like box office and critical.
Yeah,
I feel like Pine is best Chris romantically, I think.
Well, sure, but do you have any predictions for overall?
I think Pine is dreamiest Chris, but I think Evans is your box office king Chris.
Okay.
Or Pratt maybe now that I'm thinking.
Well,
Pratt's got
I'll tell you this,
Jurassic.
there's different winners for average box office and peak.
Yeah. Well, Pratt's got those Jurassic films on top of the Marvels, so that puts him up. He's a serious contender in terms of box
Now
office.
he's got the Mario,
And now
We'll
with
see.
Mario,
The answer may surprise you next week. But I think everybody just likes Evans and Pine more.
Yeah.
At this point in
I mean,
time.
if we could go back, if they ever do the Burt Macklin FBI film, then maybe Pratt comes back.
Yo, I just really,
Doesn't remember Parks and Rec, Burt Macklin?
I really like. I realized. I think all of us did that. We didn't really like Chris Pratt like we liked Andy Dwyer.
Yeah, exactly. I think
that was
Andy,
kind of the thing. It's like, oh no, we liked
I was
Andy
really
Dwyer.
just a Mouse Rat fan. All along.
All right, keep going.
Michelle Rodriguez as, wait, get this, a tough lady.
Finally, she gets to show off
She's a
her
barbarian
fighting
with a heart of
skills.
gold and a tiny man fetish. They'll join Simon, a whiz with no riz.
I courted you.
We know what words mean.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah.
Doric the Druid, the only one without any character development because she's too busy getting done.
Come here.
And the Paladin Zank, who is clearly an NPC that the DM dropped in to get those idiots unstuck and back on the main quest line.
You're much better at fighting and strategy. Pretty much everything.
Together, they'll face off against Hugh Grant, who's now just a good bloke who plays villains, instead of back in the 90s when it was the opposite. And the Red Wizard
Kids remember
Sophia,
that? I don't know
who's
if the
just here
kids
to
remember that.
glower until the big bad rolls in for the sequel.
Take solace in knowing that your work here is nearly complete.
Please let Jeremy Irons play this guy in the sequel. He deserves another crack at this.
Right back to you. Good. I can use every ounce of your rage.
Eat it up. Eat it up. Eat it up.
The hero turning momentarily in actual peril will strap in for an adventure they're massively over-leveled for. Featuring a team with so much plot armor, their fiercest foe spawns in with diabetes. Where even the one weapon in the entire fantasy universe that can actually hurt someone
It's a Red Wizard's blade. There's nothing I can do.
doesn't.
So pause.
And
If you die during a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, do you just have to go home? You just have to leave?
So if you in some places you'll be able to be revived, or you can take a long rest or something like that. But if you're playing the kind of game where if you die, you die, you make a new character.
Yeah.
And then
they just show up like
then you're like,
the side of the road.
Hey guys,
Hey!
can I join your party? Yeah.
It's just like, oh, you go to a pub and like you see a mysterious
amazing.
woman and like that's your new character.
That's literally exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So it's like in Beer Fest when
Yes.
I don't know if you know this. All rules for Dungeons & Dragons are based on the film Beer Fest.
Beer Fest
Yeah.
when the guy dies and his twin brother, and they're
comes
like,
in,
it'd be easier if you could call me by my dead brother's name
Exactly.
for everyone.
It is based. No, you make up a new name. You give your new guy a new name.
God, I love Beer Fest.
Okay, forget Mario. Next week,
Beer Fest.
Very underrated. All right, keep going.
It's rated.
The only way they can be defeated is by constantly forgetting magic exists in their extremely magical world.
She's caught the time stop!
Oh God, magic. That's right.
The last time she trapped you.
See, this is why you always need to bring a paladin, but they just let theirs walk away.
Funniest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Over the rock.
So if you want to take the game that's quietly been influencing all pop culture in the background for decades and do it justice on the big screen, why not pick the team that already turned a nerdy game night into a hilarious action comedy?
Guys, make sure you get a piece of this cheese. It's just...
Wait, don't tell me you haven't seen Game Night. What? Oh, you have to see it. In fact, you should pause this video and go watch it right now.
There's no pausing.
Don't worry, we'll wait.
1, 2, 3. No. What?
Did you finish it? Jesse Plemons, the dog? So good, right? Where was I? Oh, yeah. Dungeons and Dragons. It's good. I bet Paramount is stoked. Oh, well, I bet E1 and Hasbro are celebrating. Okay, someone needs to explain to me how success works in this industry.
No one knows.
Nobody knows.
Starring 369, Bart Chris Pine, Vice Snoo. If he's lawful good, why did he steal the movie? The Justice Society, Animorph. Oh, the Hugh Grant thief. Wizards of Shaverly Place. Every franchise needs a Thanos. Gone Girl. Minnie Cooper. AI Art. And Bad Dragon. Google it while you're at work.
No,
Party of 5.
Don't.
no, dude, don't do that.
Yeah, do it. Embrace the chaos.
Hi, are you a movie wife? Does your husband insist on staring at you smiling in the white sheets? Run for your life.
Oh, Megan.
You about to die.
You're so
You did
dead.
not. I would.
You're in a flashback
Let's be honest,
right
you're
now.
already dead. You
You're
are
already
100% already dead.
Like this is you're being remembered tenderly. Sorry, it's over for you.
Get black sheets. Get black sheets.
I was saying this to Danielle on our drive here. I was positive, like through most of the movie, that Sophia Lillis, the Doric, the actress playing Doric, was also playing the evil red wizard lady.
Okay.
I just thought it was the
That
same
face
actress, and I was
blindness.
like, this is going to be a great twist. I'm so clever for seeing this coming.
Huh.
Did not happen.
No.
They're totally different white ladies. I just got them mixed up.
Also, I have to wonder. Do you think that like Michelle Rodriguez was like calling Vin Diesel from set?
Oh, for tips? Yeah, I feel like, well, let's move on. Well, let's do outtakes then questions. We have a
Okay.
great Vin Diesel-related D&D question.
Yes.
So let's run those outtakes.
Who's just here to glower until the big bad rolls in for the sequel.
Take solace in knowing that your work here is nearly complete.
Every franchise needs a Thanos. And a monster's manual worth of creatures here to make D&D fans do the Leo meme. Ooh, gelatinous cubes. Starring Mandolin Manuel Miranda, the Mandalorian, the Bard Identity, Suck It Gaskier, Woman, the Barbarian, a Bridgerton, Magic the
Why did
Struggling,
Cartman?
Elf Improvement. My name is Simon, and I like casting. I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100% that owlbear. Beast Girl, Nancy Druid, Flirty Rotten Scoundrels, Hugh Faye Queen, Living Dead Girl. It was Sophina all along. Red Gliding Hood. She can be a real lich. Don't call me daughter. Pocket Raccoon. 1 Dungeons and 2 Dragons.
It's true.
Role models. Once upon a time in Faerun. Fast and the Fantasy. Ocean's 20, Sided Die.
A lot of those.
We like to have fun, folks.
Listen, we have a good time. We have a good time.
All right, on to the questions. Adam Hulbert says, out of the 2023's major live-action Hollywood Chris movies,
wow,
how is it my favorite Evans is terrible in the worst one, Ghosted?
Ooh,
Lana,
Ghosted.
I think you're the only one who saw Ghosted.
Oh, man, Ghosted.
I tried.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Ghosted is, when I talk about, like, red notices and that, Ghosted is exactly the thing I'm complaining about. Like, I'm not saying it's like the exact, like, everything a red notice does necessarily, but it's like that idea of like the laziness and the sort of the hackiness and the sort of the fact that they never look like they're actually in any location. They're obviously just in a warehouse in Burbank, and like the Khyber Pass is being animated behind them. Like, it's every red notice sin in one movie.
That's a shame. And you'd think that
Boof.
like just the Chris Evans, Anna de Armas
Right,
pairing could be enough to be
How do they
watchable.
have no chemistry in this movie?
Yeah.
There is absolutely none, and there's supposed to be like
It
this
is.
like kind of like love at first sight like thing, and he's clinging and needing and blah
Sorta.
blah blah.
It doesn't
but, like,
even it doesn't even make sense on that most basic level, because it's like she's irritated by him right away, but also she just agrees to like hang out with him right. Like, why there's no way these two people would end up spending time together anyway.
Got it. Well, yeah, you'd think there'd be just the leads, though, liking the leads would take you through it. Because what was that one with it's like the romance writer and Channing Tatum, like Sandra Bullock.
Oh,
and
The
Channing
Lost
Tatum.
City.
It's like, this is a bad movie, but I'm still enjoying watching
The
this.
Lost-
yeah, because they had chemistry.
Yeah.
The jokes in The Lost City are like 10x Ghost.
Oh, wow.
Like so much better. Like, it's so much funnier just as at its core.
Huh. That's a shame.
Boof. Disaster.
All right, Bruins fan, 1144. Yeah, we don't need lights. Who needs lights here? Yeah, it's slightly brighter, but you know, appreciate it. We gotta change that timer.
Yeah.
We just sit here too long. So Bruins fan, Vin Diesel was very jealous of Michelle Rodriguez when he heard of her casting. What role should he play in the sequel? We gotta get Diesel in there.
Yeah.
Right?
We gotta get
Vin,
Diesel.
Vin should really be there.
Even if it's like a Grutish, you know, he's a monster.
Have him come in and be the person that says Jonathan.
Jonathan. Well, I do think like the role that Reggie. I'm not saying don't bring back Zenk in a future one, because I like that character. Bring him back, but that role, like a guy who comes in for like a scene or two, helps out the party with his superior skills, and then disappears.
Yeah.
That could be rotate. Like, you could bring in different dudes to do that every time.
Street Shark.
Yeah.
Hand Shark.
I mean, I think he should
Just get him doing that little dance to Sam Smith.
Yeah.
he should be the last witch hunter, because that was already inspired by his D&D character. He should just be his D&D character in D&D.
That'd be great.
Like, literally, like what we were saying, like they're at a bar and Vin Diesel's character is there, like, I think I should join your adventuring party for this quest.
Man, what a nerd. James Budd says everything needs to be a trilogy. So this creative team's done a Murder Night game and D&D. So it's the third type of board game they should do to complete the trilogy.
It's gotta be Settlers of
It's got to
Catan.
be Settlers of Catan.
All
Yeah.
resources,
Resource
baby.
management.
All resources.
I would also see a Stratego movie if these guys did it, like a Napoleonic War comedy. All those dudes. Yeah.
James Bond is saying, don't leave out Cloudy with a chance of meatballs for the best sky beam. I mean, that's like the device is shooting off food. But I guess there's a beam at the center of it.
I mean, it's a
That's fun.
comedic sky beam.
Yeah.
It's a comedy take on the sky beam.
Yeah. Let's see. Are we gonna do a Good Omens trailer before season 2?
Did anybody watch season 1 of Good? I liked it.
You know, yeah. Is that season? Aren't they on like season 4?
No, it's season 2 is
Confusing
coming.
it with something else.
Yeah, this
Yes.
is the Amazon one that's based on the Neil Gaiman, Terry Pratchett
Oh.
book with David Tennant and
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen. I was gonna say Michael Shannon.
They're the angel and the
Different
devil,
person.
and they're working together to prevent the apocalypse.
And everyone's waiting for them to make out.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think season 2 is like, season 1 was based on the book. Season 2 is going to like expand the story in new ways because they already adapted the book.
I like Manil stuff, so I'll have to.
It's fun. I liked season 1. I don't know if it was popular
Are they
enough.
still doing American Gods? I like that.
No, that's canceled.
That's
That's
dumb.
over.
That's a bummer. Evan J. Pretzerek, is Bradley Cooper the unsung hero of this thing? His cameo was delightful. I agree. That was a nice cameo. It was like an unexpectedly heartfelt scene about people who are at different places in life, and then I don't know.
He almost made me cry. He was just like, she doesn't make me cry all the time. I don't worry about where she's leaving. It was like, oh, Tiny Bradley.
Tiny Bradley.
And then also
with his Tiny Bradley feeling.
Also a standout, very emotional turn in Guardians 3. Bradley
Okay.
Cooper. What a year for Bradley Cooper. Plus, he's got his Leonard Bernstein movie in December.
Yeah.
Is he going to be tiny in that too?
Well, I mean, Leonard Bernstein, not a super tall man. I don't know how tall Leonard Bernstein was.
And then we'll end with this. Jeff Nicholas asking, "What's y'all's alignment?" I assume that means like
Lawful,
chaotic,
chaotic,
good.
neutral. Yeah.
I mean, everyone likes to think of themselves as good, right?
Yeah, I like to think I'm chaotic good.
Yeah, I think we're all chaotic good. You're probably
really?
Lawful neutral.
I was gonna say, yeah, lawful neutral. I feel like would be me. Like, I'm not breaking. I don't want to get in any trouble, but if I can cheat a little bit, get away with it, I might, I'm gonna sneak around.
Neutral. That's neutral, right?
That's neutral.
I think every bad person
Lawful
thinks they're
evil.
neutral.
Lawful evil would be like, I'm gonna try to get away with bad stuff as long as I know I can get away with it. That's not. I think it's more lawful neutral. Like, if I could cut a corner now and again, I wouldn't say no.
Well,
I'm not trying to do evil.
We leave that to you, the viewer, to decide. You can't align yourself.
Yeah.
I tried once.
It's like writing your own CV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
use your left hand to align yourself. It makes you feel different.
a stranger. We will be back next week, same time, same place, for another game-based movie.
You already gave it away.
See if you can guess which one it is. That's right, The Last Starfighter. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.